Welcome to the Growing Up Brooklyn podcast, the oldest brother duo podcasting and the only one with 164 years of wear and tear. They talk Brooklyn, Coney Island, business, success, failure, and whatever comes flying into their heads. Basically, you're just listening in on their nightly phone call. So pull up a chair.
Hey, good morning, Fred. I don't see you sitting in your chair. I guess he's going to be late today. You should be on time. You know that. You know that better than me. Where are you? We can't do this. There you are.
Jesus. Am I late?
It looks that way. Only a minute. It's okay.
Well, I forgot my passcode to get into the
Let's-
podcast, so I ran downstairs to get the book where I keep all my information in, and I'm not sure where that was.
You mean the one you wrote down? You mean the one you wrote down last week on that napkin?
Oh, I think I used that this morning at breakfast to wipe my mouth. I thought I put it in my phone, but I forgot when I ran downstairs. My phone is up here, and we're using it for the podcast. But I just want to, I know that we're going to do a whole show today, but a little bit about this password craziness.
Wow.
We were kids, we weren't built for this. We grew up knowing passwords like the kids today. As I remember, the hardest thing I had to remember is the combination lock to my lock at school on the lockers. And that was 3 numbers, and sometimes I had a hard time with that. Actually, I tried to use that the other day for one of my passwords. Said I needed more than 3 numbers. You need a letter, a capital, a small, hyphen. I don't understand.
It drives me nuts. I try to put it on my phone, but then every time I go in, they want to change this, do this. I mean, my phone is loaded with all these passcodes, and then I try to put the date in, the time, makes me nuts.
I think this is a form of elder abuse. I think we should maybe find a lawyer we could find that they're abusing our seniors, because this is crazy. Every day you got to change another password. And then you get something new. You want to talk to the doctor, put in a password. You want to talk to everybody has a password. It's just,
Freddie.
It was 3 numbers. Mine was 3, 18, 27. That was my combination lock. What happened?
I don't know. I'll give you a quick thing. Yesterday, my son was here, and he tried to get me back on Facebook, an hour and a half. And he's pretty good with all this stuff like you are. And he couldn't get it done. It just was crazy. So
I don't think it's going to get any better for us anyway. But
no, I don't know how old people are going to do this. I mean, I'm old. You're old, but you are more into the electronics than I am. But I just don't know how they're going to accept this stuff.
yeah, I kind of liked when we were kids. You knew who the guy down the block was, and you said hello by name, and you didn't have to use a password to get into the candy store. I mean, that's what was important to me, getting to that candy store.
Yeah.
And I guess the other thing is that unwritten, law that we had in the street. The rules of the street were, don't be a rat.
Well, no, you never ratted on your friends. If they did something that their mother or father was upset with, and they would ask you, you're not going to confirm it. You didn't know. I don't know what they did. But that's the way it was back then.
See, now, as we get older, we don't even have to worry about that because we can't remember.
Well, the other thing is, but listen to this. The other kids, there are no kids playing in the streets today. What neighborhood, they're playing with their phones in their house?
Yeah, that seems to be one of the problems that we're having today is the kids just, I don't know.
Well, where do you? I don't see no kids playing in the street anymore.
Yeah, we have a few here that go out, and it's kind of nice. And one of the reasons we moved to this kind of a neighborhood instead of 55 and older is I wanted to see people.
Yeah.
If I want to sit in the house and watch ambulance pull up, that's not what I was looking for. But anyway, sorry I'm a little late, but at least we got something going here.
Yes.
What I thought we might kind of go down is being this is our second episode, episode 2. I didn't know we'd make it this far.
Well, we got through one. Let's see if we can get through 2.
Well, I thought we'd kind of describe where we lived. I know the other day we kind of talked about really at a high level where we lived, but I think we could just talk a little bit more about the house we lived in and the surroundings and some of the people in the neighborhoods and a couple of things like that. And
Yeah,
I
we
thought
could
we'd
talk
start.
about. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought we'd start off in the beginning. So why don't you take it?
Well, we actually we lived in Grandma's house. And she bought the house sometime in the 30s. When I was born in 1940, I lived in that house, and then Grandma died when I was 2 years old. I never really got to know her, but it was actually a bungalow that they put on a pier or concrete, whatever you want to call it. But we had a basement, and then I think a few years later, they put another bungalow on top of Grandma's house. And that's where Aunt Ann and Uncle Tom lived, and Tommy and Jerry. They lived upstairs, we lived downstairs. And believe it or not, Freddie, well, you notice that house is still there. It's on a slant. It's on sort of an angle, but that house is still there and people living in it.
No, not only is it still there, I just looked it up this morning. It's being listed
for $878,000.
How much?
$878,000.
I was doing a little research this morning, trying to figure it out.
In
It's on the
Coney
market.
Island? In Coney Island?
In Coney Island, and I don't think the whole house was tilting. It was sinking in some spots because the basement. I used to be able to stand up there, and at the end,
You
I would
couldn't
hit my
stand.
head.
I remember
And-
that.
Yeah, and the second floor tilted. I think when they built it, you put a marble on the other side of the floor, it'd go 100 miles an hour and hit the wall.
Yep.
So-
And that hasn't changed. The last time I went past it probably was about 8 years ago, and the tilt was still in that house, so nobody fixed it.
Yeah, I remember when the guy came to put the siding on, and they got to the top, and there'd be a whole piece on one end, and it looks like a sliver at the other end because they had to cut it at an angle. So yeah, there was a little bit of a slant on that house, but hey, it grew both of us up, and in a great neighborhood with great people. So I think that was pretty cool.
And don't forget, we had a big front yard there, Fred. We had a grapevine. We had the front yard.
Mhm.
I mean, I
remember.
remember me, and I know you did. We played handball.
Yeah,
And
on the wall next to us, which was, I guess, when I grew up, was a chalk factory. They used to make all the little chalk that they used to give out at the carnivals and
Yes.
Coney Island.
Yes.
But when I think when you were younger, it was Spinelli was in there, right?
It was, yes, Spinelli's was they were contractors, the father, 2 sons, and they built that. And then when they sold it, that's when that other company came in and did it. And then
Yeah.
when they sold it, a guy went in there and he repaired cars. It was a
Right.
car repair shop.
But that was like the mecca of the block. I mean, my friends used to come down there and hang out because we had a yard, especially when we were smaller. We weren't playing in the street, but we'd play handball. I remember once Uncle Pete came over and played handball with us. And
And then
That's
don't
pretty cool.
forget, right on the other side of that building, we had an empty lot. We used to play baseball there.
yeah. Then Uncle Frank took that lot for a while and put his
Yeah,
stuff
but
in
when
there.
but when it was empty, we played baseball as kids. When I was growing up, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, we played all the kids would come down there. We have 2 teams, and we played baseball in that one lot.
Now, did you guys ever go over to Fort Diamond? Was that there, or was that still being built at the time?
No, we played at Fort Diamond. The White Sand. We played at the White Sands.
You know, White Sands, Fort Diamond.
Yeah,
And the reason they called it Fort Diamond is because 4 baseball diamonds.
exactly.
There was 4 fields, and they would call them diamonds, and that was 4 diamonds. But yeah, we used to go over there a lot and play, pick up games, and you have 8 kids and four on a side. And
Yeah. Well, me growing up, I think there was a lot more kids there because we'd have 8 or 9 kids on each team. And it was good. Yeah, I learned how to play baseball. And I was a catcher at the time. I used to be a catcher without a face mask. Ooh, well, that was crazy.
And the hardball, I remember, you know, not having the kind of money that you needed. But get a hardball was a little tough. We used to go down to Bataway. I don't know if you remember Bataway on West. I guess
Yeah.
that was 10th Street.
It was on Surf Avenue.
8th Street, West
Yeah.
8. And you put a quarter in there and they'd hit the ball. You grab as many as you can and you stuck them in your pants and ran out. So we'd have those rubber balls, which probably lasted pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good. It was
Well,
nice growing up there.
Yeah. Oh, we had a lot of fun, and you did
Yeah.
too. I mean, a lot of those guys, some of them are still around, of course, hopefully, and there's some that are gone. But you know, it was a good friendship type of thing.
Yeah. I remember a few things about the house that you know, when I was thinking about what we're going to talk about today, you say, well, what could you say? But you know, walking out of our yard, we walked out, and to the right of us was the street called Hawk Place, and there was some light manufacturing. And I think when you were a kid, there was a big building there. They just called it Knickerbocker Beer. I don't know if they
Yes.
ever made beer there, but the building was there. Maybe it was storage or whatever, but
Yeah.
that was there. And then eventually, I guess it burnt down. I remember or something.
Right. Yes.
And then it
And they,
became a concrete yard, a cement plant. They were doing
yeah.
cementing there. Then it was empty. And then to the left, that's where you walked up the block to up 16th Street. 3 blocks away was the beach,
Yep.
which was pretty nice in the summer to go down to the beach. That always enjoyed that, walking down there. And on the block, we had a couple of little stores here and there. We had that one little
Freddy's.
store.
We had Freddie's store right across the street from us.
Freddie, yeah, Freddie was a good guy. I remember a couple of times I bought maybe 3 cents worth of candy. Only had 2, and he'd let you go. And you know, I know that.
Well, he was in
Yeah.
World War II. He was a World War II vet, and he was wounded with his leg, and he used a cane. But he was good to the people. Everybody loved him because he
Yeah.
was. That's where Mommy bought the Italian bread from him.
No.
Uh,
Yeah, I remember when Mama used to say, "You for the Italian bread." The heel of the Italian bread used to disappear on the way home. Kind of
yeah,
remember,
but,
especially Sunday morning, she'd be making the sauce there. Everything be bubbling. The house would smell great, and you'd walk in, and she would always smile because she loved it too. I think you used to save it the other end.
well,
Mommy always liked the heel.
and that's what I like. That's until today. If there's Italian bread on my table, even my kids and my grandchildren give me the end.
Yeah, see, there you go.
Yeah.
But I remember one story that sticks out with me with Freddie, actually Daddy more than Freddie, is I walked down, Daddy says, come on, we'll take a walk down the block. We walked down the block, and Daddy bought a pack of cigarettes, probably at the time 23, 24 cents, who knows what it was. And I think Daddy let me buy a couple of cents worth of candy. And Freddie gave him the change, and Daddy walked out. We got maybe halfway home, which wasn't that far. We were right there. And he looked in his hand, and he noticed that Freddie gave him 2 cents. I remember it like it was yesterday. 2 cents too much. And he says, gave me the 2 cents. He said, all right, go back and give it to Freddie. I said, go back. I said, Dad, 2 cents. Let me buy some candy with it. He said, no, you're not going to buy candy with it. And I said, why? I don't understand. It's 2 cents. He said, that man works for his money, and you're not going to take money from people. It's just not right. I work for my money. I don't want anybody taking my money, and you're not going to take his. So you're going to bring back the 2 cents. And that was a life lesson that stayed with me till today. I go back still. Well, if kids knew how to make change today, but everything's credit cards and everything now, you don't get to go back and say, sorry, you made a mistake. Here's your money back.
You know, Freddie, that was Daddy and Mommy. That's the way they brought us up, and it wasn't going to change. And until today, I remember going to Walmart. I put a case of water underneath my wagon. And when I checked out, I forgot to do the water. I got to the car and I went to pick it up. I said, damn, I didn't go back. So I go back and the girl says to me, well, I seen you check out. I say, yeah, but I didn't do this. She said, goodbye. Take it. I said, are you kidding me?
Don't get me started on the self-checkout. We're going to do that another day, but
Okay.
I don't get paid enough to check out and buy a grocery. All right, we're going to hold it here now, and let's see where we're going to go. So we did the candy store. We did that. All right, the unwritten rules of the street, stickball, punchball, mop handles.
How many
Ready for that?
minutes have we got so far?
We got 15, but we'll probably be about 12, 13 left.
Okay.
And then at the end, I want to do something, but we'll see if we have time. All
Okay.
right. We're going to come back. Could you just sit up a little bit? You're kind of, are you leaning back?
No, well,
Yeah.
no, I'm up against the chair.
Because I have your whole body in the mirror in there on that closet. You see it?
Well, I could go.
No, that's worse. You got to go the other way. Yeah, just come back. Yeah,
Because of what they did.
it
But
was excuse me, what? It was a tough neighborhood.
yes,
You needed to be tough.
and they wanted to win at whatever they did. So it also put things in my head growing up that the harder, the better it is. You don't give up. And that's what we, as kids, and I know you was the same way. It was a learning lesson from the kids and our families and their parents and our parents. That's the way it was. It didn't change. It
No.
changed now, but when we were young, that did not change.
No, kids played hard when I remember choosing sides. You remember that? I forgot how we do it. Once
We threw the bat. Well, if it was baseball,
you went up the bat and
it was one
Yeah,
hand
no-
over the other.
right, and then you try to grab the knob. You had to spin around your head 3 times, and if you dropped it, but you would pick the sides, and if you were lucky, you got picked to first, second, or third. If you were at the end, that means you weren't too good at that sport.
Exactly. That's exactly correct.
Yeah, I've been probably at the end more than the beginning. But what I always thought was interesting is, once again, poor neighborhood. I didn't know we were poor, but we weren't rich. And to buy like the pinky balls, I think at that time, or the Spaldings or the pinkies, I think they were like a quarter, maybe 20 cents, a nickel, a dime, maybe. And everybody used to chip in 2, 3 cents each, go buy a ball.
Yeah.
And sometimes we'd borrow a broomstick off somebody's porch or whatever.
Well,
We would never steal it. We would bring it back if we didn't break it.
Yes.
And we would go and play stickball in the street or punchball in the street or whatever it was, slap ball, box ball. There's just
Freddie, everything was played in the street. We didn't have no place to go. I mean, you play sewer to sewer. I remember playing
Sewer
when we
to
played
sewer.
stickball. It was
Yeah.
still sewer to sewer, and the
Yeah.
first base, second base was the sewer. The first sewer was home plate. I mean, it was. You couldn't explain that to kids today.
No, and once again, it was just an amazing time growing up like that. I mean, your friends were your friends. I mean, you walk down the block, you pick up the guys on the way there, and even going to school in the morning. I know, like you used to go with Mikey Sigliano, right?
Right.
You go to school with him, and I go to school with Andy and Joey Salmoniz. We'd walk by the house; they would be outside, and we'd all go to school together.
Yeah.
And one of the other things that
And Freddie, not to interrupt you, but Lincoln High School was about 1.75 miles or 2 miles from where we lived. And we walked every day to the school and then back home again. We weren't afraid to walk back then.
Nope.
The kids today don't even walk a half a block.
Interesting you say that. I watched the kids on the block. They all have electric bikes now. And I'm like, okay, there goes exercise.
Yep.
Yeah.
They don't need to exercise today.
So, I shouldn't talk about riding bikes. I was As a kid, yes, but as I got older, I know you still ride a little bit.
Yeah, I still ride them every night.
Yeah. And the unwritten street rules, I guess, were respect, loyalty, don't rat, don't touch, respect for your friend's family, their mothers, their father. You said hello, Mr. or Mrs.,
Oh
whatever
yeah,
it was. Uh, you never took anything for granted from them, and that was pretty cool. By the way, that's a nice shirt you got on. What do we
yeah.
teaming up here?
You like
Hey,
it?
what
Yeah,
do we
I
got? We
like it.
got some.
I like it.
We got some merch going there. Huh? We got some merchandise out there on the
Yeah, well,
bottom of on the bottom of the video. I'll put a link to our merchandise store.
that's a good idea. That's a good
We
idea,
got the
Fred.
we got the Cyclone. We have the go karts that we used to own. We got a couple of nice things, and more to come. We got some coffee mugs, and we're gonna have some fun with that. We got some tote bags, and it's only our seconding it up a little bit at a time. We're gonna get there, you know.
Well, not Rome wasn't built in a day,
No,
and neither was Coney Island.
no. The other thing that pops out of my mind is walking down the block. When we're talking about walking down or up the block, I always say down the block. It was actually up the block. Was people sitting outside their homes.
On the
If they had
stoops.
the stoops, if they sat on their stoops, and the little old ladies, which I look back and they're probably 10 years, 20 years younger than we are now, but when their husbands passed, they would wear black for the rest of their lives. That's all you saw them in. And Pat Cooper used to talk about that. They'd have the bun on their head with the knitting needles in it or whatever they put in it. And they would sit
Exactly.
there. And in our block, most of them spoke Italian. And I'd say, hello, so and so. Hello, but they were always out there, and they were like interested in the kids. They didn't.
Right.
I don't remember getting maybe a couple of the neighbors, tell you get out of their yard and stuff. If the ball went in the yard and stuff.
Uh,
Most of them were really good people. I mean, we had some real nice people on our block, and
yeah.
looking back, I mean, we were taught. I don't know how to explain this. It's going to be hard for people today to understand, but we had a code in those days without ever knowing it, because we were taught it. Our parents taught us. Our uncles, our aunts. Oops, sorry about that.
You don't
Our
get that
uncles, our
today.
aunts.
You don't get
We just had a code. You respected the elders. You respected people. You respected where you live. You would never do anything where you lived.
Fred, and I remember when relatives came and I was in the room, first of all, they talked. And when they came in, your mommy's eyes would go, move me. Did you kiss them? If she didn't see me kiss them, you had to do it twice. If she missed that, I kissed Aunt Margaret, then I'd have to kiss her again because mommy didn't see it. And that's the way we grew up, respect for the family.
Yeah, I remember having, kissing mommy and daddy, hello, mommy and daddy. If we came in the house 5 times, we had to say
Yep.
hello, especially the aunts and uncles. And
Yep.
the uncles got kissed, the cousins got kissed. We all got together. It was it was interesting.
But we didn't
I
think
know.
anything of it, Freddie. It
What's
was
that?
normal for us. We didn't think, nobody thought anything was wrong with that. It was
No,
normal.
it was the norm.
Yeah.
It was absolutely, but our friends did it.
Yeah.
Everybody did it in the neighborhood. It was the way of respect. Relatives lived down the block from you. All of my
Yeah.
friends had all their relatives there.
Yeah.
We had relatives there, until they eventually moved out to the Long Island and wherever
Right.
they moved.
Right.
Yeah, I kind of miss some of that, and I don't know how we ever get back to that in this country and this
We're never
world.
going to get back to that. We're in a different world, and that's
But
what it is.
And I guess for our parents, when they saw where we ended up, they said the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, listen, mom and daddy were born. There was no flying in a plane to go places. There were planes, but they delivered the mail. And daddy saw prop planes and jet planes, and
How about mail delivery 2 times a day, 1 in the morning, and carrying it on their shoulder?
yeah,
You can't, Freddie. We can't explain this to the people, the young kids.
Garbage pickup every day, even Sunday. They'd come with the truck and pick up your garbage. Now, I
Yep.
don't know how much garbage we had to pick up all that. They used to do.
That's what they did. But
I know we're running a little long here, but I just don't want to leave without talking about the sounds of the neighborhood, because the smell and the sounds are probably two of the things that the senses that always, when you walk down the block, especially on a Sunday or a Sunday morning, everybody was cooking their sauce and or their gravy, whatever you want to call it. But everybody was doing that. Everybody, there was cooking going on every night. You smelled it too. That people were cooking. We had no air conditioning. You're lucky if you had a fan. So those smells came out to the street, and the sounds. Who was playing Mario Alonso? Who was playing Frank Sinatra? That music just echoed through the street.
Mario Lanza, that was Mommy's favorite album.
Well, yeah, except for Frank Sinatra. There.
Yeah, and Frank Sinatra, of course. Yeah.
We're going to have a whole segment on Mommies and Frank Sinatra. I tell you that. The Bobby Sox days.
And I went with him when I was 5 years old.
You did a few of those concerts yourself.
Okay, I think the Brooklyn Paramount. That's where she took me.
Brooklyn Paramount, yeah. And the Fox in Manhattan. He used to do too.
Yeah, it wasn't the Fox. I didn't remember the name, but I remember the Brooklyn Paramount. I was probably 5, 6, maybe.
She was taking on the subway.
Yep. And Mommy wore the white socks.
Of course, he was a Bobby Socker.
Yeah.
So when we talk about the neighborhood, the sounds of the neighborhood, a couple of things, that just jump out is like the fruit guy would come a couple of times a week and start yelling, fruit the man, come and get your fruit, fresh and vegetable. And they'd be screaming out there, and the woman would come out and he'd give them a little taste of something just to entice them. Try the peach to sell the peaches. So whatever he had to get rid of, I think he used to let you try.
Oh.
But he would come. I remember the ice truck, the ice cream man. Remember the good? What was that? The ice cream guy is called Good Humor.
Good Humor.
Around, guy would pedal the bike, and the Good Humor guy. Summer nights, and that's at night. We would. I know I had to get home when the lights turned on, the street lights. And if I got home a little late, I would tell Mommy and Daddy that the light down the block goes out a little bit later, comes on. I kind of remember walking into the yard and looking at the gas tank in the back of our house. Well, it was 4 blocks away, the gas tank, but you could see it. And they had the lights on it for the airplanes and stuff, so yeah,
but they were about 150 foot up like this. No, I mean, not 100. Yeah, they were up pretty high.
That was pretty high. I think it was higher than a parachute, to be honest with you.
It probably was a couple of 100 feet up.
Yeah, and they were big. Actually, I think there was 4 or 5 there. One big one, and then they had the smaller ones that would go down and up as they filled them with gas.
Look how lucky we were that one of them never exploded, because we wouldn't be here talking today.
One exploded. If it was during your time, I still wouldn't be here. Well, all right. Let's cut here for a second. I just want to.
It says.
I'd like to close somehow.
It says 30 minutes already.
Yeah, I'd like to close with some kind of a story. Mommy and Daddy kind of story. So let's think of something, and uplifting story, them taking us someplace or doing something.
Well, we used to go to Aunt Rose's, or we went to Atlantic City. I don't know how many times you went to Atlantic City, but I went to Atlantic City.
Well, I went without you. I mean, you were too old. When I was 10, you were 18. You weren't coming. Well, typing, but I guess I'll be getting back to you. Thanks again for tuning in. We had a great time. God bless.
Thank you. Good night.
Thanks for hanging out with us on the Growing Up Brooklyn podcast, the oldest brother duo podcasting today. If you liked listening in on our nightly conversation, hit like, subscribe, and come back next week. We'll be here, unless one of us falls asleep.